What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a blessed and awesome day. I know I haven't been on social media for months, and I want to go ahead and state what happened and the reason why I decided to get off social media and go ahead and work on myself and work on my healing. One, it started back in I would say at the end of January, where I started losing my sleep. It felt like I was constantly up for a whole entire week. I remember telling my boss, I says, look, I haven't really slept. Still felt very energetic, but eventually you get to where you hit the wall. And so then I lost my sleep. And then I got a little paranoid because of when you hit that wall and it takes a toll on yourself. So I went to the emergency room. I was like, hey, I haven't slept. They didn't really want to listen to me. They had no solutions. I was kind of saying, is there something you guys can give me? But where I was is my body was in this sympathetic nervous system, which was the fight and flight nervous system, rather than the parasympathetic, where you're in the rest and digest nervous system. So I was always constantly going. So no matter what was given to me, it didn't have an effect because they gave me something and it didn't affect me at all. And it just seemed like I was always trying to find a solution, going to the doctor right after for let's do this, let's do that. And then eventually it got to the point where the sleep got to the point where it was insufficient. Doctors tried giving me different types of medication, like an antihistamine medication, to see if that would make me drowsy. That didn't work. Then they gave me something that would be like a mild form of like a antidepressant that they use for sleep. That made me freak out. And so then they gave me eventually, after kicking and screaming, because I didn't want to take anything, I ended up taking a small dose sleeping pill. But working with my functional medicine doctor, we started uncovering other things that were going on, doing blood work, within the body, finding out what's going on. So basically what I found out was it was a catechism of things that kind of happened. Sleep, probably because I was putting my body through excessive amounts of stress, and which was I was doing a keto intermittent type of fasting. It was good for a short period of time, but I kept on for a longer time than I really should have had. And also too, I had low chloride and low sodium, which also exacerbated the problem because I was always hitting the hot sauna and I wasn't getting my electrolytes back in balance. So I started tapping into my adrenals. So then I started having a thing called an adrenal dysfunction, or my body started just having this dysfunction. Then the doctor found out that because of that happening, plus also to the sleep, that I started having a problem with my gut. She ended up doing a test, found out that I had a gut dysbiosis, which is that I had didn't have a right amount of the good gut bacteria, and that might have been attributed to that she also found arsenic, and then she also found mold. And I was like, where the hell did this come from? So the arsenic, I kind of thought like, well, because I end up drinking a lot of water from Sedona, that's where I was like thinking that I was constantly I would go to Sedona all the time, and I was drinking that on a regular basis. And the water from up north is high in arsenic. So it could have been because I couldn't do hot saunas anymore, that my body couldn't process that stuff, or it could have been where I started eating some brown rice within my diet because the doctors wanted me to increase my carb intake. I don't know, where it came from. The mold comes from spoiled fruits and vegetables. So all the good things that I was doing, didn't realize that I was causing an issue within my body, which was I would go ahead and get some microgreens. And I realized that when I buy the microgreens that you have to be very careful, because even though that they say it's going to expire on this date, that I noticed at the very bottom of the microgreens, it started getting like soggy and things like that. So to me, I kind of felt like, okay, eliminate that. And as well as like saying that getting like already like jicama, like when you buy a jicama and then you peel it and you cut it, and then you end up eating into it, or I would throw it in my smoothies without even eating it first. And when eating it, you can see whether or not it's spoiled, or even if you can tell if it's like kind of like it's like spongy, it's not crisp. That I ended up just putting that in my smoothie. So basically that's where I'm thinking where the mold came from. But with me, I ended up getting my house tested, making sure that there was nothing wrong with the environment. The house came back fine. I ended up buying some air purifiers through different rooms so I can have purified more air, HEPA filter to kind of get rid of allergies. And then also too, found out through my doctor that I had some food allergies. And because of the food allergies also affect the body. So avocado. Man, who doesn't love avocado? I would eat avocado all the time. I put avocado in chocolate and make like a mousse. And a lot of the videos, a lot of pictures I would tell people about like, what amazing things that you can make. Well, the one thing I've learned is that you cannot be eating the same thing every single day, because you need to have a diversification of your food, because it helps out with your gut. Whereas, I'm a creature of habit. I like this thing, I'm going to eat that thing, and I don't really care about, most people are saying like, I'm tired of eating that. I was fine. Now I'm going to tell you I'm tired of cooking, because it seems like I'm always cooking every single day, trying out something new. Didn't realize that I liked collard greens, didn't realize that I like Swiss chard, doing many different things, because like the allergies prevented me from eating like the cool things that I love to eat. Broccoli, I know most people don't love broccoli, but I loved broccoli, can't have broccoli. Cauliflower, chicken were cut out of my diet. Now I could add it back in, but olive oil, man, how many places, and avocado oil and avocados, how many places out there cook with this type of thing? So I am stuck having to do my own cooking, but which is good anyways, because then I know what I'm putting into my body. So doctor put me on this elimination diet. Then I started doing like an anti-inflammatory type of diet. So I've been doing that, as well as I've been doing a detox for the past couple of weeks, where Saturday will be the end of my detox. Then after that, what she's going to be doing is she's going to be doing a detox of the spike protein. I don't want to go ahead and say the word of what, we all know that word a couple years ago of what it is, but the doctor was suspecting that has caused so many problems in people, as well as it caused problems in me, even though that I never got it, or if I did get it, all I got was a headache and that was it. But because of that spike protein in the body has caused havoc in the rest of my body, because when I hit that wall, it created the opportunity for the autoimmune issues to kick in, which then started the whole gamut of issues, and as well as like a dysregulated nervous system. Small little simple things of like noises was triggering for me. That's why I had to like almost being like my own little cocoon, where not wanting to hear things. Whenever I would go out, I could feel it in my body. And that's when I hear people saying like, where do you feel that in your body? Whenever I would do self-development courses, and I'm like, now I understand what they're talking about, because you can definitely feel some things in your body, like a bark, a loud noise, a boom. A couple months ago, while I was going through this whole dysregulated nervous system, my neighbor blew up a pipe bomb. That was a whole issue with the police and things like that. And that you could feel it in the body when it exploded. I could see the goosebumps, and it was like just when I was about to sleep. So the whole thing for me now is I had to adapt, and I'm adapting, I'm learning, I'm growing. Every day is a process of learning something new, and every day is getting a little bit better. Just like right now, my sleep seems to be getting a little bit better each day. Even though that I would love to be able to own the night again, or even also to being able to go and just eat whatever. Now there's certain things that I can eat and cannot eat, and then also to doing a certain plethora of all these supplements. I'm like, darn it, I'm tired of all this stuff. Or just doing this whole detox, because this detox is helping me pull things out of your liver, helping the body, helping your mind, helping the blood flow, doing many different things within your body. And from what I was doing research on is that everybody should be doing some kind of a form of detox, because you have things that are in your body that you don't even know, that have been just residing in your body for years. Not the saying, like, even though I ate healthy, lived a healthy lifestyle, that this did affect me. And I know it could affect other people too, of how you're living your life. So my biggest takeaway, and I want to go ahead and express this out to you guys, is this: making sure that when you're eating, and whatever you're eating, I'm not going to go ahead and tell you shouldn't be eating this or shouldn't be doing that, because the one thing I learned from Tony Robbins is you shouldn't should on yourself. You shouldn't on yourself. So just have a diversification of food. Don't be eating the same thing every single day. I took it to the major extremes where I was like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner was all kind of completely different. One thing one of my coaches kind of told me was breakfast is more of like a hoof, like a hoof animal, and then lunch is going to be like a wing animal, and then dinner is going to be like a fin animal, so like a fish. That's if you want to go that approach. But you can do whatever you want and approaches on your food. I'm just saying for you guys is just mix things up. Mix up your proteins. Because I was always eating like whey protein all the single time. Now, since I don't have an issue with milk, which I did in the past, that I can go ahead and have dairy when I'm allowed to within the next couple of weeks, that I can go ahead and just start like going back to having some whey, go have whey, or I can have some meat, can have some dairy, whatever it is, but also to doing things in moderation and also switching things up. So I'm experimenting with some plant-based protein, some egg protein, meat protein, and like a carnivore, it's made out of beef. Actually, it has no flavor to it. Experimenting and just doing many different things, having different food items, and just saying, hey, just have this experience. That's the one thing I can go ahead and tell you guys, is making sure that you don't go through the same thing. Also too, life is so short. And if there's things that you want to do in your life, do it. Because I look back at my life where I was always in this process of planning and strategizing, always trying to find my next move. Whereas now I'm just looking at it as, I just want to be able to appreciate this day, appreciate this moment, appreciate this time, because we only get this one time on Earth, on this big rock that we're spinning out in this Milky Way, in this universe, and realizing that if there's things that you want to do, do it. Don't let things kind of stop you and prevent you, because when you kind of look at it as all these things like rejections, and how you're feeling, those emotions are just like they're just there for a certain period of time and then dissipate. Just like clouds that come in, like a rainstorm comes in, it rains and then it disappears. The next thing you know, everything is clear, everything's sunny, and then all the water that was there is all evaporated. So, and that storm didn't even look like the storm even hit. So that's how life is. And that's something that I kind of realize right now about me, what I want to do in my life, and realizing that life is short, and realizing too that, your health is the most important thing. Most people want to go ahead and just get flashy things, flashy that, or whatever, build an image or whatever it is. But I kind of look at it now as life is all about like health, because that health is going to be your wealth more than anything else. Because when I was in the situation where I was, where I couldn't process things. I couldn't, I had to have a family member come by and stay with me to help me get along and do the basic simple things in life, because I couldn't really process things. I had a lot of brain fog. I couldn't remember. My short-term memory was gone. I lacked that energy, couldn't drive. And I realized that life is short, and then we need a tribe too. That I've been a lone wolf for quite some time in my life, and I realize now that ends, and especially when going through this, I had stuff that, like old wounds that came up, even though I processed it and thought I healed from it, or I did heal from it, that things came up. Like I started having problems with my lower back, and I'm like, damn it, it's like I overcame this lower back problem. A lot of that has to do with is that it's surfacing up because it's basically clearing out the soil and just like getting rid of everything, like burning everything to the ground, that new growth, new opportunities, something new and bigger is going to come into your life. So if you're ever going through something and you're going through like a shit show, that all of this is just eventually it's just gonna dissipate. Just like when there's like a big forest fire, you look at the ground, it's like devastated. It looks like an atomic bomb just went through, like the trees are all burnt and scattered, plants and everything like that. It's all charred. And yet when you go back to the same place where there was a fire years ago, you see it all full of green. It's all lush, because that is what's happening in a person's life. And that's what I realized, I kind of felt like within me, is that all that surfacing stuff that came up and processing things, and realizing that, saying, look, I'm going through this and growing through this to become a stronger person. Just like you're going to be going through things in your life, and you're going to become a stronger person by going through it. It's about building up that resiliency in your life. And we tend to always see things differently because we always do a comparison of somebody else, whereas in reality, it's just me versus me. That's all it is, because we only have this one life, and it's our life, and that is it. Because nobody really knows what another person's going through, unless you have walked in their shoes, and you can understand and have that empathy to understand what they're going through. It's like, yeah, I understand what they're going through, the difficulties and how things are, and maybe you'll be a little bit more sympathetic. But remember, everybody's going through something, so always be kind to somebody. And I realized when you start slowing down, people started being able to be a little bit more communicative. I've noticed that when I was walking really slow in the grocery store, I had people talking with me. It was just seemed like it was like a slowing down of life, and really kind of appreciating the time that's here. Because if you're just like focusing on, got to do this, got to do that, you are missing out. You're like living your life on fast forward, and you're skipping through all the important things that you can gain from things, connections, people, life, opportunities, experiences. And these are things that I've learned right now about what I'm gaining, what I'm learning, and going forward of what I'm going to do with my life, and how I'm going to make a difference in spreading the word about about life, and then as well as being able to spread the word of like my story. I just made it really simple for you guys. This is definitely like all the stuff I went through is definitely going to be put into a book, because I had this awakening of what I went through. And there's times that I just like, it's like, oh, shit, I don't want to be here. It's like, why, God, why are you putting me through this hell? And, why are you forsaking me? All these different things that I had, and anger and frustration towards God, to myself, to family, to friends. And then what I decided to do was just cut off everything and just say, look, not going to deal with things, even though I feel like I want to go do things. And that's where eventually I will start getting out and doing things. I know nighttime is not something that I own or I can do. So, because I'm in the process of like doing things by like 9 o'clock, so that I'm in bed by 10. And usually my process even starts a little bit earlier than 9 o'clock. And even though that I look at it as like the going outside and seeing the stars, or seeing the moon, or feeling the coolness of breezes at night because it cools down here in Phoenix, that I'm missing out on that opportunity, or even just like going out to, say, you're driving out to Sedona and you're away from the city lights. I remember that doing this in the past, and then just looking at the stars and how beautiful it is. I miss those things. It's the small little things that I appreciate. And that's why I wanted to go ahead and leave this with you guys. Small appreciation is just so, it's just like the taste of food, being able to walk, being able to breathe, smell, taste, communicate, love, everything, small little things always add up, my friends. So, I always say, be about it instead of talking about it, and namaste. But I also want to say is be more, do more, and become more. Think about that with your motto in life. You guys have a blessed and awesome day. Thank you for listening.